Yeah, I'll be Facebook Live today, y'all. Computer's up and running with technical difficulties. I know you're ready for it. Just make sure I get you on here. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Facebook Live, y'all. Here, get them started. Join me. It's on. WHGE 95.3 FM. Coming up, the Open Eye. Those of us that ignore him or commit intellectual violence don't do so for the pleasure of mental masturbation or even victim. We do so because change of impression is minds are deep and difficult to reach. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. Guess what, y'all? We Facebook Live today. Oh, yeah. We got it going on. Are you ready? I'm Patrice Gibbs, your Open Eye optometrist. Ready to open your mind and your eyes so you know what's going on, so you don't be dealing in ego diddling and mental masturbation. Open your mind so that you will know how to stay on code. That's been my mantra here of late, staying on code. One of the ways to stay on code with WHGE 95.3 FM is not to wait until Saturday morning at 11 a.m. to tune into our station. And don't go away once I leave the air, because we're on 24/7. Whether it's some music or some talk, we got something for you. We got some knowledge for you. At 1 on Saturdays, we have Voices of the Delaware African Coalition. That's every second and fourth Saturday with Dr. Kalichi Lawrence. And like I always tell you, proud of my big brother Ed and his knowledge of sports on Eddie J's Sports Zone at 4. Don't want to miss that with host Ed Johnson. That's followed by the Weekend Review with the well-researched information from Mr. Alan Lawrence. Sometimes I'm going to call him Dr. Alan Lawrence because he bring it. That's my man's right there. All right, and of course, daily at 6, our illustrious leader, Mr. Harmon Carey, with Black History Facts and Reflections on the only Black-owned radio station in Delaware, Black History Facts and Reflections, I think, is the only show daily. That's 6 p.m. and on WHGE 95.3. The only show daily that gives you Black History Facts and Reflections. If it's not, somebody tell me about it, because we don't know. All right, Sundays we have Fixing Addiction with Raheem Darden. Were you on WHGE yesterday? Did you catch the Linwood Jackson show at 5? You missed something. That's from 5 to 6. That was followed by, once again, award-winning host Raheem Darden. Stop smoking, no joking. You want to stop smoking, you need to tune in. He will show you how it's done. All right, let's get it on. First of all, let me tell you that the Open Eye is brought to you by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, the founders and builders of the Pearl Center, the veteran-specific apartment building, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, changing veterans' lives all over Delaware. So proud of them cats, man, and so grateful to them. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? We got some things coming up. Let me handle some business here. On the 27th, a poetic invitation to and from the friends of WHGE 95.3 FM. WHGE invites you to support our shopping spree. That's right, we're going to have a shopping spree to buy 100 radios for the elderly, so they can tune in and listen to 95.3 FM. Now, don't get it wrong, we got plenty of elderly that are out there that might catch me on Facebook Live that are tech savvy and what have you, but we have some that don't. So they need a radio so they can tune on in to 95.3 FM. Don't ruin their Saturday morning and not come participate in this. This will take place Wednesday, November 27th at Celebrations from 5 to 8. That's at Celebrations on South Market Street. Entertainment will be Tony Smith and Friends. There will be musicians, vocalists, artists are invited to perform. Admission is a $10 donation. You can't beat that. You can't beat it. $10. Come on now. You can't beat that. So make sure you show up November 27th to help us make sure that 100 seniors are able to tune in to WHGE 95.3 FM. And soon I will be joined by my partner in consciousness, Nsoromma. But in the meantime,
the views and opinions expressed on Open Eye are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM nor our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual.
that's to let you know everything you hear is not influenced by anyone. It is coming directly to you from your third eye optometrist. That's right. I don't let nobody tell me what I'm going to say on the air. I'll be there. Last week, I talked about the things that veterans went through. Being sponsored by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets and being a veteran myself and being involved in veteran affairs, I have a healthy interest in veterans history and what have you. Last week, I told you about what veterans went through to show their patriotism, what they went through when they came back from serving their country, a country that did not serve them, what they went through with the bigotry and racism and those that just couldn't accept their citizenship and their service to their country. I'll give you some history. How many of you have heard of the Harlem Hellfighters? The Harlem Hellfighters were the first all-black regiment that helped change America's public opinion on African-American soldiers and helped pave the way for future African-American soldiers. The 369th Infantry was originally formed in 1913 as the 15th Infantry Regiment in the New York Army National Guard. The infantry was one of the first few Army regiments to have black officers in addition to an all-black enlisted corps, and was one of the few black combat units during World War I, reflecting racial discrimination and segregation both in American society and within the Army. American Expeditionary, excuse me, I'm going a little fast, slow it down. American Expeditionary Forces leadership avoided placing African American units alongside the white Army units. As a result, General John J. Pershing, commander of the American Expeditionary Force, assigned the 369th Infantry to attach with the Allied French Army. See what they didn't want them, with the whites, and I was listening to Dr. Clark this morning, and one of the things that Dr. Clark expressed was that when Africans, those of African descent, or organized militarily, we are the baddest ass fighters that can form any military, bar none. Give you a point, give you a case in point. One of the Harlem Hellfighters, Sergeant Henry Johnson, William Henry Johnson. Now, William Henry Johnson was part of the Harlem Hellfighters, and part of the regiment that was assigned to the French because the American whites didn't want to fight with them. Well, he got caught up in a battle in the trenches. They were, first up in the trenches. Well, one night during sentry duty, he and fellow soldier Private Needham Roberts received a surprise attack by a German raiding party consisting of reportedly 12 soldiers. Let me tell you something about that. Now, while under intense enemy fire and despite receiving significant wounds, Johnson mounted a brave retaliation, resulting in several enemy casualties. When his fellow soldier was badly wounded, Johnson prevented him from being taken prisoner by the German forces. How do you like that? Badass. Johnson exposed himself to grave danger by advancing from his position to engage an enemy soldier in hand-to-hand combat. Well, in only a knife and being seriously wounded, Johnson continued fighting, took his bolo knife and stabbed it through the enemy soldier's head. When, excuse me, the aftermath of that was what the evidence showed was that Johnson actually fought off 30 German soldiers. He was so fierce, they ran off. They ran off. There were 12 bodies left. One man. It's one brother, Harlem Hellfighters. So when the Harlem Hellfighters were welcomed home, to New York, of course, they received a big welcome from Harlem. They should have, especially Johnson, Johnson should have got a Purple Heart. He didn't. He should have got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He didn't. Not until, what, 2015. Almost 100 years after the incident. Okay. This is how long it took to honor him. And when I speak of honoring him, I want you to go over to 18th and Baynard Boulevard and see the statue that honors African American Medal of Honor recipients. And when you do, I want you to salute the gentleman that's responsible for that. Wilson Mickey Smith. I salute you, brother. Always. Always. Yeah, it's If we don't, who will? America is showing us, you know, that they're not real interested in that. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is The Open Eye on WHGE 95.3. More coming up soon. Oh, don't worry, Facebook Live friends, I got you. Yeah, I like that little story. If you didn't know about Mickey Smith, contact me. Brother worked hard. He worked hard to see to it that African Americans served got the honor and respect that they deserve. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs. I mentioned earlier that my mantra of late is staying on code. What that means having a discipline about, one, not doing anything that would be damaging to the efforts to empower our people, first and foremost. Having the discipline to keep participating in the advancement of our people. Okay, listen. Part of that is keeping your wits and your positivity about you. If you had $86,400 and someone stole $60, would you throw away $86,340 for revenge, or move on and live? Each of us had 86,400 seconds every day. Don't let someone's negative 60 seconds ruin the remaining 86,340 seconds. Life is bigger than that, and so are you. And so it is staying on code. Let me tell you, the only laws that you can't break. The universe is written in laws of mathematics. Understand that. Almost all ancient and modern scientists have said this. So, you know, there's not an argument in one way or another. Understanding these laws and living by them puts you in harmony with the grand scheme of things. And staying on code. Until you do this, you're going against the grain and bound to run into problem after problem. Every system in the universe, no matter how big or small, is governed by the same laws and principles. And guess what is at the very center of it all? You. Just think about it. That's why you need to stay on code. Okay? The reason that I admonish you and advise you to stay on code is because of what we have to deal with in this system of global white supremacy. We have to realize what it is we're up against. Yeah, it's great for the holidays to come and take a rest. It's great when you get off of work and go home and put your feet up. Global white supremacy doesn't take a holiday, y'all. We are constantly under pressure from that behavior. There's always something. That's why I talk about it so much, because I want you to make sure that you are prepared mentally, especially to deal with this. Just to give you an example, I'm going to give you a few examples of why you have to stay on code and display appropriate behavior, because it doesn't stop. Now, you remember Fernando Castile, who was shot in front of his girlfriend and stepchild. Now, Fernando Castillo's girlfriend received a settlement for $80,000 from Minnesota. And Fernando Castillo's girlfriend is suing the Minnesota mayor who falsely assumed she would blow the $800,000, excuse me, $800,000 settlement on crack cocaine. Diamond Reynolds, who filmed the bloody aftermath of her boyfriend Fernando Castillo's fatal shooting by a policeman in 2016, is suing the mayor of Elysium, Minnesota for defamation after he authored a social media post where he attacked her character. Tom Broom fired off a tweet claiming Reynolds, who is black, was spending the cash settlement she received after the deadly shooting on crack cocaine. And she's suing his ass, and she should. Reynolds decries the remarks as defamatory, false, and racially motivated. You damn right they are. The defendant was alleging that the plaintiff is an abuser of serious drugs, has an addiction that causes her financial stress, and is someone who bases her entire existence in terms of her costs of daily living on support from municipalities and other state Minnesota entities. Reynolds was sitting in the passenger side with her 4-year-old daughter in the back seat when Castillo, who was driving, was shot and killed by then St. Anthony police officer Geronimo Yanez during a traffic stop. The beloved school cafeteria manager was retrieving his ID when Yanez opened fire. The cop, of course, was later acquitted. Was later tried and acquitted of manslaughter. Should have been charged with murder. Should have been convicted of murder. In 2017, Reynolds would reach an $800,000 settlement, a mere pittance for that man's life, with the city of St. Anthony, the city of Roseville, and the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust in connection with the fatal shooting, which was live streamed on Facebook. We all remember what a horror that was. She is seeking more than $50,000 in damages, and in addition to attorney fees. Even that's not enough. Even that's not enough for the way this man disparaged her character. This is the kind of crap that we're dealing with, which is why you have to be constantly on code. She didn't let it go. She was on code. She didn't let it go. I salute her for that. Because, as I've said in the past, white supremacy understands two things: blood and money. You know, blood is a big expense. We spilled enough of our own blood. Blood is a big expense. So go after the money. They understand that. Oh, and now this guy is sorry, and he said that, and this, that, and the other, and you know, he took the Facebook page down, and what have you, and you know, he's all apologetic. You're never apologetic till your ass get caught, and it's going to cost you. You take that apology and stick it. You know how I feel about apologies. You slap my face and then apologize, my face still stay. I ain't trying to hear it. No, I am not trying to hear it. Oh, I got some more for you. Oh yeah, oh, I got some more for you. About staying on code. One of the videos I did earlier in the week, I think it was this week, was about Stephen A. Smith, who I criticized for being constantly off code. He is a well-known sports commentator on ESPN, but nothing by ESPN. I think they just gave him a $40 million contract. Now, Colin Kaepernick recently held a tryout, which the NFL was going to try to use to really, you know, slick the man up with a contract that would not have benefited him at all. And Stephen A. Smith, well, what Kaepernick did was he held his own trial. He changed the venue, and he held his own to show that he was ready for the football field. He's better than a lot of quarterbacks out there. I'm sure Ed Johnson will attest to that. And so what he did was, instead of participating in the NFL's publicity stunt, and he held his own tryout to show his skills. Well, Stephen A. Smith, without having the full story, threw Mr. Kaepernick off under the bus, thoroughly criticized him with vitriol and vehemence and, anger, loud talk, what have you. And he was totally wrong. Stephen A. Smith constantly off code. We even come off on someone who has stood up for us. He had a lot of damn nerve. And see, there's something attacking black athletes who dare to think and speak for themselves has become a sport of its own. I guess it always has been, really have never gotten used to athletes who have the intellect and wherewithal to speak for themselves. That's why Muhammad Ali was so hated, the Louisville Lick. And even further back than that, Jack Johnson, who heavyweight champion, first black heavyweight champion, Jack Johnson, who when he was beating up the white dudes, he grinned right at you. He said, oh, they constantly remind me I'm black, and I let them know. I constantly never let them forget it. Now, when an NFL player knelt down to protest injustice, Donald Trump told the team owner to get rid of that son of a bitch. That's what, yeah. When LeBron James voiced a political opinion in the interview, Laura Ingraham told him to shut up and dribble. See, this country stripped Tommy Smith and John Carlos of their medals for raising a fist in the 1968 protest, in the 1968 Olympics to protest human rights violations. The list goes on, and the message is clear. Black athletes are to be seen, not heard. They are only here to entertain us and should not say nothing about the society in which we live. And that's the feeling. That is the feeling. That is what you call white supremacy telling you, because I said so, shut up and dribble. Shut up and throw the ball. And you have no rights as a citizen once you join their athletic plantation. See, this is like I said, this is one of the examples why we need to stay on code. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is the Open Eye. Are you on code? Because if you're not on WHGE 95.3 Facebook Live, you're not on code, baby. Come on in. Jive turkeys. What we have when we have someone like Stephen A. Smith is what I call a surrogate white supremacist. Carrying the ammo for his white supremacist bosses. Throw another black man under the bus. Like I said, we are always dealing with incidents that, show that they want to remind us where our citizenship stands. And they do it as individuals and as groups as a whole. We have microaggressions, people that say little slick things to you. Or someone like the Indiana cop that was fired after stopping black patrons for looking suspicious. We always looking suspicious. Where does that come from? Let me tell you. I'm gonna get to that in just a second. How that mindset gets there, that indoctrination amongst whites gets there. Now, a police officer in suburban Indianapolis has been fired after a video of his confrontation with two black customers at a department store went viral. Lawrence Township Deputy Constable Darrell Jones approached cousins Aaron Blackwell and Darrell Cunningham as they were driving out of the parking lot of a Nordstrom rack store, which can be seen in the video that was posted. Chief Constable Terry Burns fired Jones immediately after viewing the footage. He was terminated last night when the video was brought to my attention, said Chief Constable Terry Burns. I did see the video and made the decision immediately, and that pretty much speaks to my reaction. The two men began filming the November 12th incident as their vehicle approached Jones, who they said watched them make their purchases inside the store and then followed them outside. Remember what I told you in the past. Nothing a white man with a penny hates more than a black man with a nickel. They spend too much money for him. So there was something suspicious going on here. As the exchange between them became heated, the men insisted that Jones call a supervisor. He repeatedly demanded to see their ID. I got my rights to do anything I want. I'm a police officer, he said. When asked what the reason he had for asking Jones, for asking for their ID and for saying that they were acting suspicious. Nothing more than he's a cop. And come to find out, this fool was off duty at the time and was working as security at the Nordstrom's rack.
Man, that's what they do, my brother. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do. I just been joined on the air by my partner in consciousness, the Open Eyes intellectual surgeon, Nsoromma. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, good, my brother, good. You know you got, brother got 17 jobs.
I know, I feel you. And yes, we are Facebook Live, brother.
What's up, Facebook?
Facebook Live.
Tune in.
Yes, indeed. I'm talking about staying on code, and I'm giving examples of why reason people need to stay on code. And what I mean by staying on code is never doing anything to, damage our advancement and our fight for black empowerment.
I mean, we've been fighting for black empowerment for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so they trying to make it so we won't forget it. I mean, why? We the only ones that keep having this thrown up in our face. They don't throw the Jews up in their face. You know? I mean, they don't throw no other group of no other nationality under the bus like they do us.
That's right.
So I'm saying because they throw us under the bus so much, they say, what's your nationality? Nationality isn't black, it isn't African, it isn't Indian, it isn't any of them. Nationality is a bloodline, and bloodlines isn't black.
Okay.
Black isn't the bloodline. And that's how they catch us up, because black is a product of, a made up product from the government.
Yeah.
And that's how they keep us in bondage when they say, what's your nationality? And we say black. Black don't exist in a nationality. That's their made up product.
Well, it's, and I feel what you say, but I also got to go along with what Malcolm says. When they look at us, they don't look at us about our nationality, what religion we are, what, island we came from, and what have you.
Right.
As soon as they see us, and it makes me think of the documentary on the what they call the Central Park Five, the 5 young people that were falsely convicted of raping the jogger in Central Park.
Right.
When they see us, they see black. And
unless you tell them, and that's what I'm saying.
No matter what you tell them, when they see us, they see black. And,
right. Until you say, I'm not black. I'm not one of the 14th Amendments.
Right.
Especially to the law.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regular citizens, yeah, they're going to still see that. But when you say to a person of authority that you're not black,
mm-hmm.
I'm not one of your 14th Amendments that mm-hmm. you have made up as a product, mm-hmm. it's a different reaction.
Okay. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying.
Because then you have a right. Me. I told you how you know how I am. I ain't black in your eye no more. I ain't gonna stab you 25 times no more. Okay. I'm gonna get the pen. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna get the pen and I'm gonna break you and take all your kids' clothes, everything you got. I'm gonna sue you for everything you got. I'm not playing anymore. I'm doing what they do.
Right.
You feel what I'm
saying? Come on in, bro, because you're on camera. Like I said,
I know what they do.
You know what my favorite song is. When
I just heard it coming in.
John Turkey. Yeah, well, that's one of my favorites. That's one of my favorites. You know that.
Yeah, I'm saying. I mean, we have to wake up as a people and get our own, like Malcolm said. I mean, it starts from, we already supporting and supplying the United States. We are the most that contributes to their purchases and their businesses and all that. We spend the most money. And it needs to come back to our own community.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right, because it's something how at one time, it was something during segregation. I talked about this last week. During segregation, the black dollar bounced in the community 11 to 18 times. It bounces in the black community once now.
Not even that once. You know what I'm saying?
It goes in, it comes in, it goes out.
Right. It just comes in and then boom.
Right, and that's another form of inappropriate behavior within our community. Now, I was talking about this cop and how he got that mindset, how that
do what he wants, right?
And not only that, but to view us as suspects on sight.
Not suspicious. Oh, I'm stopping you because you look suspicious.
Yeah,
you look suspicious to me, or you're a real cop.
Right.
Oh, is this just are you on duty?
Mm-hmm.
And he said no.
No.
So why are you messing with me?
Guard.
No, why are you messing with me? You're not supposed to be saying nothing to nobody. Mm-hmm. You're not on duty.
Right.
Period.
Like I said, where that mindset comes from. Okay, it's things like this.
Now, if he'd have got shot, they'd have shot him up, and he was off duty. They wouldn't have said he was off duty. They'd have just said he's a police officer. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have said he's an off-duty cop harassing people. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have said that.
That's word. Now, what took place in Vidor, Texas, like I said, is a prime example of how you get cops off duty or not, like this cat right here. Okay. Vidor Police Chief, you had to apologize for an alert that was sent out during a manhunt. The alert that was sent out said, notify police if you see any black males. So if you leave the home as a white person or whatever other race you might be, and you see a black male, because of this manhunt they had going on for some crime that had taken place that was committed by some black men. Notify police if you see any black males. Now, the text alert was sent out during the manhunt and told residents to shelter in place, but the chosen wording created a whole lot of chatter on social media. Part of the message, if you see any black males in the area. Now, your neighbor across the street could have been a black man, a black male, and he came outside, he could call the police. Now, the chief of police said his heart dropped when he saw this, and he wants to apologize to the community for that. He said that the message was too vague and did not include all the details. For instance, it did not include that the 18th block of North Tram was the location where they were looking for these individuals, and the word suspicious was left out. Just because you're a black male walking through Vidor, Texas, doesn't make you a suspect. We need to get past this stigma, said explained Chief Carroll. Tuesday night, cops were looking for 4 men who stole cash from an ATM in Alabama. Now, they got the tip that these men were driving through Texas around 6:30 that evening. But the alert went out, call the cops if you see a black male. Now, even if they had to put the word suspicious, you know, it makes me think of places where gentrification is taking place. For instance, in Harlem, okay, in South Harlem, where whites have started moving in. If they see a black man walking, they call the cops.
And what killed me, right, is now, you know, the Caucasians have gotten smarter. They got black suits, and they'll go rob people and shoot people and do all this kind of things in these new black suits that they got.
Oh, these black masks.
They make you look like a black dude. It'll make you look like a black dude. It couldn't even have been a black dude. That's how you know corrupt this system is. That they hire some of their old people to put these suits on and go around doing stuff to make people think that it's black people that's doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's not necessarily the case.
Right. Well, you know, for years, the suspicion about the violence in Chicago and all the killings in Chicago
has been thought to be done by, you know, the police and all of
and these whites wearing these black masks. Coming in, these white supremacists putting on these black masks.
Right, they're coming
on
their
drive-bys
and shoot up things, run in stores and rob people.
Right.
I mean, until you catch the person physically in the act, you can't say they are black.
Yeah.
You know.
No. You know, because you just don't know. You know, and like I said, this is just part of, you know, the examples that I'm giving you, that we're giving you there on the Open Eye, for why you have to stay on code, have to hold your discipline, have to be about your business.
Right.
About keeping, like I said, like keeping on code.
Because they want you to get upset. They want to stop you and have you all irate so they can go, oh, Frank, we got one of them.
Got one of them.
Bring a billy club, the taser, the mouth, and the gun, and the shotgun. We're going to get them.
Yep.
That's word.
That's word.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know. And like I said, we are constantly under pressure. They are constantly doing things to keep us under pressure.
And just like earlier you were saying, that cop that stopped the kids in the mall, that same cop, he might have got fired from this department, but the other department picked him up because they're looking for racist police officers so they can be state police officers.
Believe that.
A state police officer. That's the state police officer abduct them kind of or recruit them type of individual officers that they live on recruiting racist officers.
Bigger than big. I had to catch myself there. Was on the air. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma in the
building. The Open Eye.
95.3 FM WHGE. You dig?
The Delaware Center for Homeless Veterans, also known as
What's up, bro? Like this. I know I gotta get up 9 o'clock. I gotta get up 9 o'clock. I looked at the clock, it was quarter hour. I said, silky. We on still, right?
Oh, yeah.
I said, silky.
Yeah, it's on Facebook Live. That's all right. I tell you this. As of early, it had so much to do this morning. I was still just made it, you know, on time.
Yeah, 95.3 FM. You see it every Saturday, 11 to 12 p.m.
Yo, we prep for you every day. Every day. So when we get here on the air, it's on. WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye. Like I told you, we are constantly under pressure to stay on code. That includes everything from how we handle things economically, socially, you know, and with our education. Okay, give you two. I got 2 on education. Yeah, I got 2 on education.
Yeah.
All right. 1, the students uncover the racist chat group amongst teachers out of Alabama.
Amongst the teachers.
Amongst the teachers.
Every teacher should be fired.
Every last one of them.
Period.
Every last one of them.
There's nothing to be discussed with that.
Every last one of them. You know, they on this chat group saying things like, oh, that N-word slow. He can't walk and chew gum at the same time. She's one of those little hot N-words, hussies. I know it's the 9th grade, but by the 11th grade, she's surely going to be pregnant. You know, and I mean, these are the people entrusted with the education of our children.
Of course, so you know they teaching them and tainting their education so they wouldn't be exactly up to code with their kids.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's terrible. I mean, that's terrible. You know,
making sure they fail.
Right.
Now, of course, not only do they have to deal with the set up to fail. Not only do they have to deal with the racist teachers, but they got to deal with their fellow students, the white students, who are doing things like taking their picture in class and then putting ads on Craigslist, slave for sale.
Now, that should be against the law.
Oh yeah, and these students, you know, should be, they should be expelled from school. You know, now here's the crazy thing: the parent of the student whose photo was taken and put on Craigslist, slave for sale, says she was not surprised because her child has been dealing with racial bullying in school. She's reported it time and time again, and they've done. Oh well, you know.
What school is this?
This is in Illinois. Let me see. I know I had the name of the school. Naperville Central High School in Naperville, Illinois.
Naperville Racist High School.
Yeah. Students.
I think they should just burn it down.
The whole school.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, we ain't got to deal with that. Just like they went through and burnt down, you know, all the black people stuff. Start burning down their stuff. That's what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready. I'm on Malcolm's side. I'm done with talking for real. I'm just ready to put it in effect. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have already jumped on us and been beating us up and clunking us in the head for years. So, let's take their billy club and go to work ourselves. Yeah. How about that? Because
a juvenile was arrested after a planned attack on members of a predominantly black church in Nova. All right. Police have arrested a teenage girl
for trying to plot or something. I heard that. That leaked to me. I got that. Finish it. I didn't hear it.
At Gainesville High School, after she allegedly threatened to attack members of a predominantly black church, she expressed admiration of Dylan Roof, or whatever his name was, that killed 9 people in the black church, and
got a burger after doing it.
Right. And said that he was a great example to her, and she was going to follow in his footsteps, and she was going up in a church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Wow.
Yeah. In Gainesville, Georgia, and she was going to stab and kill as many black people as she could. See, a lot of times our religion gets us in trouble because we are open people.
First of all,
we're welcoming people.
First of all, it ain't our religion. You take that and let it sink in.
Let that sink in. Said a mouthful there, brother. Let that sink in. This forgiveness stuff. And welcoming.
Even God said an eye for an eye.
Yeah. There's some places where we need to remain tribal and to ourselves and watch who we let in the house. There have been too many times where we let them in the house, let them in our society, let them in our community.
I mean, they come as a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's how they got America right now. They came with a Trojan horse, and that Trojan horse was the government. And the government took and went all the way in, and everybody now participating in importing and exporting with the government, making them almost a controller of all economy.
And like you said, that Trojan horse, interesting that comes up because what's coming up Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Europeans came and they were starving and what have you, the indigenous Americans welcomed them, fed them, taught them how to grow food. And
got their stomach all fat, and look what they did. Turned around and killed them. Every one of them. And then trying to kill and enslave their kids in their era.
And you can't wait to belly up to that table for Thanksgiving.
Right.
You know?
I think all these holidays that are systematic holidays were designed from white people, and it always was like a degrading thing towards the black person. I didn't care what the holiday was. I mean, it always was a degrading holiday towards black people, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I tell you, of course, as any child coming up, I look forward to Christmas and gifts under the tree and this, that, and the other, you know. And boy, thanks Santa Claus and what have you. And my parents went out and worked and struggled to put that stuff under the tree. And we got thanks Santa Claus.
Not only went out and struggled, but doing that went out and struggled, they got beat, spit on, kicked, and all this other stuff inside of that struggle with all this racist tension that was going on. Just think how it was back then.
Yeah.
And you want to go Santa Claus bought it.
Yeah.
Beat it.
You know. And, you know, like I said, you know, even then, not knowing any better, we were off code, you know, and that's just, you know, well, I'm going to let Nsoromma tell you. Stay on code.
Yeah. NsorommaMusic.com. This is for my city, every city, in every state. I recognize the pain in my city. Yeah, we need a change in our city.
As always, look, Facebook Live, I got more research than we need, but we're ready for you just in case.
That's right, they all know.
I'm telling you, stay ready. That's from my story.
Yeah, this is my story.
Yeah, you use that.
I was trying to find something to put right now in there.
No, we checking out with my man Nsoromma's skills on dealing with my story on Facebook. Yeah, so, what?
Yeah, brother. What's good, brother?
Yeah.
It's incredible, man. You know, yeah, every city has that message right there, especially in the black community, in the poverty areas. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I feel
yeah.
I definitely feel, brother. Like I said, we are constantly under pressure to stay on code.
Right.
Constantly. Okay, and that's from everything, like I said, from education to employment to where we live. Because the newspaper went undercover in New York Times to show realtors discrimination against black home buyers.
Oh yeah, I mean, I told you a couple shows back, I don't know, about 8-9 shows back, when I told you I wanted to purchase a car. And I purchased a car, you know, I got a nice job, you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good about myself, and I'm like, oh, I want a car. I can afford something like $18,000 to $20,000 over 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So I want to go get something nice.
I feel
So I go to the dealer, I go to a Mercedes-Benz dealer, and boom, I go pick me out something for, you know, $22,000. That ain't a lot of money. That's the average person, you know, average car that you can get and be reliable. But when I go there, my interest rates was like 60%, 40%, or something like that. And, you know, the Caucasian guy that was right next to me had the same, all the same, you know, information, qualifications, credentials. And boom, he was getting a 2% interest.
Crazy.
So if they did this to so many people, black and Spanish and Indian, that, you know, the censor bureau started investigating, and they ended up doing a civil suit against the company, the bank that was doing it. And that's where it lies at. You understand?
Yep. We pay more for goods and services. We pay more for products, and of course we pay more for homes, like I was saying.
Right.
Now, one Long Island real estate agent told a black man that houses in a predominantly white neighborhood were too expensive for his budget.
Right.
But the same agent showed houses in the same neighborhood to a white man with the same amount of money to spend.
And didn't say that.
Right. Didn't say
That's
that.
what they do.
You know. Now, what the newspaper did, well, it was Newsday. They did this undercover thing where they sent out black and whites to the same real estate agents, okay, and contacted 93 real estate agents of the area's biggest firms.
Right. 2
testers of different races, but of the same gender and about the same age, income, and housing preferences, and they would independently approach the agent.
Right.
The results were startling.
Of course, you know, it was so overwhelming. I bet you it was 1 to 99.
Oh yeah,
something like it. It was crazy. I know it was crazy.
Yeah, and in many cases, agents did not even show listings to black testers if they had not been pre-approved for a mortgage. The same agents would accommodate white testers who did not meet the same conditions. You know, now the federal Fair Housing Law passed in 1968 as part of the Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination based, discrimination in housing based on race.
Now, listen, you right there at that point right there, and that's where the boy lawsuit coming into effect right now. Brian Allen, the Byron Allen lawsuit deals with that right there.
Right.
The right to be not discriminated against doing business in America.
Right.
And that particular situation you was talking about right there applies to that what Byron is going through right now. They trying to eliminate that so you can't even sue for this type of stuff that they could do. Now that's I think is just unhumanly.
Yeah, it is, man. It's just sickening.
Yeah, they like doing things that's right. They doing things that's inhuman, and when we dealing with an inhuman government, you know what I'm saying? They're not out to help us. So we have to wake up and help ourselves. If we don't help ourselves, we'll be eliminated.
Yep. You know, so like I said, help ourselves. Like my man Nsoromma just told you, stay on code.
Right. Exactly. And this ain't only for black, and this ain't only for black. This is for poor everybody, white, Italian. If you're living in the poor realm or under poverty level, it applies to you.
Okay. Well, like I said, don't throw your own under the bus.
Yada.
WHGE
95.3. Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Gibbs. Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Gibbs.
I got a hard ram coming up this
okay.
I got a hard one coming up this time. It's gonna hurt some feelings, but that's all right.
They hurt their feelings, hurt their pride, hurt everything they can do for us, you know. Act like it's an okay thing.
The experience of black people in America is completely, absolutely, and totally unique. Blacks are the only immigrants the only non-immigrants in the country. Blacks are the only people who came here by force. No other people were packed in the holds of slave ships like cargo for months, and filth and human waste and disease, millions being lost en route. No other people arrived on the American shores to see their women raped and defiled, their men stripped of their manhood and any semblance of dignity. No other people had their heritage, culture, religion, name, and the most unifying force of any people, their language brutally beaten out of them by the slave master's lash. No other group of people suffered the horrors of plantation life, working from can't see in the morning till can't see at night under the overseer's lash. Being forced to watch the slave master hang a young pregnant slave woman from a tree by her feet, her swollen belly slashed open with a sword, and the unborn child brutally snatched from her womb, its head smashed on the ground, a common practice to instill fear in the enslaved. No other people saw their families torn asunder, their children sold off at the whim of the slave master. No other people suffered the indignities of Jim Crowism, segregation, discrimination, second-class citizenship, and legally sanctioned oppression. No other people had been terrorized by not only by the Ku Klux Klan, but by marauding gangs of whites who could be stirred to violence on the strength of a rumor and rampage through black communities indiscriminately, committing murder and destruction with little or no fear of ever being brought to justice. No other people had been lynched, castrated, and mutilated. No other people had been systematically denied the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in America but black people. By all rights of human nature, black people in America, especially those of us that know our history, should be angry, bitter, and murderously vengeful. It is a miracle of the Creator that we are not. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma.
The Open Eye.
WHGE
95.3 FM.
Yeah.
Listen.
Your boy gonna call us. He gonna say, yo, if they outside, they got a chip on your car. They following you over there. You know what's up right now. But I don't care. I don't care if they doing something or not. That's the whole thing.
That's it.
You know, I'm not scared.
You ain't scared. That's right. Like I always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma.
This has been
WHGE
95.3, The Open Eye.
Yaga! Boom!
Man, the hour flow, buddy.
That's
right. I did them off a little early. Well, Facebook Live people, thanks for joining us. Those of you, I know you're going to catch this video later, so I will definitely make sure to post it. Make sure you stay tuned to WHGE 95.3 FM. Nsoromma.
Yaga!